The chains burned against my wrists, not regular chains, wolfsbane laced silver that made my skin blister and kept my wolf buried so deep I could barely feel her anymore. Elara Kane, you stand accused of murdering Alpha Marcus's son, Derek Blackwood. Elder Thompson's voice echoed through the packed trial hall. 300 wolves, all here to watch me die. I kept my eyes on the floor. Looking up meant seeing him, Kade, my mate of 5 years, sitting in the front row next to her, Vanessa, the she-wolf he'd been sleeping with for the past 6 months while I worked double shifts at the pack hospital. The evidence is clear. Vanessa stood up, her perfectly manicured hand resting on Kade's shoulder. Elara threatened Derek 2 days before his death. Multiple witnesses heard her say, and I quote, "You'll regret what you've done." My jaw clenched. Yes, I'd said that. Because Derek had assaulted a young Omega in the storage room, and when I reported it, Alpha Marcus had laughed in my face. His golden boy could do no wrong. She was found with his blood on her clothes, Vanessa continued, playing to the crowd like the performance artist she was. She had access to the aconite that poisoned him, and she had motive. Derek rejected her advances weeks ago. That's a lie! The words ripped from my throat before I could stop them. Alpha Marcus rose from his throne, his eyes cold. You'll speak when spoken to, murderer. I didn't kill him. I tried to save him. I found him in the woods already dying and— Enough! Marcus slammed his fist down. You want to prove your innocence? Then shift. Let your wolf testify to the truth before the moon goddess and this pack. The hall went silent. I felt the blood drain from my face. I can't shift. The chains. Then we remove them. Marcus smiled, and it was the smile of a predator who already knew he'd won. But know this, Elara, the moment you shift, if your wolf shows even a hint of Derek's blood scent, even a trace of guilt, you'll be executed immediately. No trial, no mercy. My wolf stirred for the first time in 3 days, and what I felt from her made my heart stop. Not fear. Rage. Remove the chains, I whispered. Elder Thompson hesitated. Alpha, perhaps? Remove them, now. 2 guards approached, their hands trembling as they reached for the locks. They knew what I didn't, or what they'd been told not to tell me. The moment silver touched wolfsbane-poisoned skin and then released, the pain was excruciating. Before we continue, let us know if this is your first time on this channel. We do welcome our new listeners and subscribers. So, comment, "I'm new," and tell us where you're watching from, so we can welcome you properly to our story family. And if you're already a subscriber-type old-timer, and I promise that I'll reply to every single one of you. The first lock clicked open. Fire shot up my arm. I bit down on my tongue hard enough to taste blood, refusing to give Marcus the satisfaction of hearing me scream. The second lock followed, then the third. When the final chain fell away, I collapsed forward onto my hands and knees. Blood dripped from my wrists onto the stone floor, each drop echoing in the silent hall. Get up, Marcus commanded. Shift or die where you kneel. My muscles wouldn't obey. 3 days of silver poisoning, 3 days without food or water, 3 days of my wolf being suffocated beneath layers of toxins. My body was shutting down. She can't even stand, someone muttered from the crowd. Guilty conscience won't let her shift? Pathetic, another voice added. Kade said nothing. I could feel his eyes on me, but when I dared a glance in his direction, he was looking at his hands. Vanessa leaned into him, whispering something that made her smile. Even now, even here, she couldn't resist twisting the knife. My wolf snarled. That sound, that internal, primal sound, was the first thing I'd truly felt from her since they'd chained me. Get up, she growled. Get up, or we die proving them right. I pressed my palms flat against the stone, feeling the cold seep into my bones. My arms shook with effort, but I pushed myself up, first to a crouch, then, slowly, to my feet. The crowd murmured, surprised. Shift! Marcus roared, his patience clearly wearing thin. The alpha power in his voice made every wolf in the room flinch. Except me. Because my wolf was pushing back. I'd spent 26 years hiding what I was. My parents had died keeping the secret when I was 12. A rogue attack, the pack had been told. But I remembered the truth. I remembered my mother's final words as she bled out in our kitchen. Never let them see your wolf, Elara. Never let them know. They'll kill you like they killed all the others. I'd obeyed. During mandatory pack runs, I'd taken herbs that suppressed my true form, that made me appear as nothing more than a small gray wolf. Unremarkable, forgettable, safe. But there were no herbs now. No time to prepare, no way to hide. "I'm waiting," Marcus said, his voice dropping to a dangerous purr. "Unless you'd prefer we skip the formalities and proceed directly to execution. I'm sure we can find a silver blade sharp enough." The guards at the doors shifted nervously. They'd seen executions before. They knew how this ended. Vanessa stood again, clearly enjoying herself. Perhaps she's not actually a wolf at all. Perhaps that's why she can't shift. Maybe Elara is just a pathetic human pretending— My wolf exploded. There was no gradual change, no controlled transformation. The shift hit like a lightning strike, violent and absolute. My bones didn't break and reform, they shattered and rebuilt themselves in an instant. My skin didn't stretch. It tore away as fur erupted beneath. The scream that ripped from my throat wasn't human. It wasn't fully wolf either. The temperature in the hall dropped 10 degrees in seconds. Frost spread across the windows. The candles gutted out, plunging us into darkness broken only by light. My light. White fur blazed with luminescence, turning the trial hall into midday. Wolves in the front row threw their arms up, shielding their eyes. Others stumbled backward, tripping over benches in their haste to get away. I grew and grew. My wolf form towered over every shifter present, easily twice the size of a normal werewolf. My paws left scorch marks on the stone where I stepped. But it was the mark between my eyes that made them gasp. A silver crescent moon, burning like a brand from the moon goddess herself. "Impossible," Elder Thompson breathed, his face pale as death. "A white Luna. They're extinct. They've been extinct for 2 centuries. The hall erupted into chaos. Wolves were shouting, some demanding answers, others backing toward the exits. Warriors shifted instinctively, responding to a threat they didn't understand. Omegas dropped to their knees, exposing their throats in submission without knowing why. My wolf's consciousness merged with mine, clearer and sharper than ever before. She was ancient, powerful, and absolutely done with hiding. "They killed our parents for what we are," she snarled in my mind. "They killed Derek to frame us. And they will learn what happens when you cage the moon." Marcus's face had gone from confident to calculating. He raised his hand and the room gradually quieted, though the fear remained thick enough to taste. "A white Luna," he said slowly, and I could see his mind working, searching for an angle. How fascinating. I wonder, Elder Thompson, what does pack law say about concealing one's true nature? Isn't that considered deception? The old man's eyes widened. "Alpha, you can't possibly—" She hid what she was for years, lied to every member of this pack, used false magic to disguise herself during pack runs. Marcus's smile was sharp. "Sounds like grounds for immediate banishment to me. Or would execution be more appropriate for such a serious offense?" "The law protects white lunas," Elder Thompson's voice cracked. "They're sacred. They're—" "Extinct," Marcus interrupted, "which means there are no laws protecting them anymore, just very old stories about very dead wolves." He turned to me, and his eyes were black with alpha power. "Shift back, abomination. Let's finish this trial properly." My wolf wanted to tear his throat out. I could feel her rage pulsing through every cell, demanding blood and justice. But not yet. "Not yet," I agreed with her. "Let him hang himself first." I shifted back to human form, the transformation smooth this time. An Omega rushed forward with a robe, not the same one from before. This one was finer, trimmed with silver thread. Her hands shook as she draped it over my shoulders, but she met my eyes briefly. "Luna," she whispered, so quietly only I could hear. "We've been waiting." Then she backed away before Marcus could notice. I pulled the robe tight and faced the Alpha. "You wanted to see my wolf. You've seen her. She bears no trace of Derek's blood because I didn't kill him." "That proves nothing," Vanessa cut in, but her voice was shrill now, lacking its earlier confidence. White luminous were known for their ability to mask guilt, to manipulate. Were they? I turned to Elder Thompson. "You're the pack historian. Tell everyone what white lunas were actually known for." The old man hesitated, glancing between me and Marcus. "Tell them," I commanded, and my voice carried an echo that made the windows vibrate. Elder Thompson swallowed hard. White lunas were judges, appointed by the moon goddess herself to maintain balance and justice among wolfkind. They could sense truth from lies, guilt from innocence. They couldn't be deceived, and they couldn't deceive others. It was physically impossible for them to— "Enough," Marcus snarled. "Ancient superstition has no place in—" "Derek came to me 3 weeks ago," I said, my voice cutting through his. "He found something that terrified him, something worth killing him over." The hall went silent again. Vanessa's face had gone white. Kade was staring at me now, really staring, as if seeing me for the first time. "He came to the hospital at midnight," I continued. "Said his father would kill him if anyone knew what he'd discovered. He was right about that, wasn't he, Marcus?" The Alpha's jaw clenched. "Careful, girl. You're already condemned. Don't make your death more painful than it needs to be." "Derek found the accounting records," I said. "The real ones, not the doctored versions you show the Pack Council every quarter. He found out you've been embezzling from Pack funds for 5 years, over $2 million. Money meant for schools, for the hospital, for security." Gasps erupted throughout the crowd. "Lies!" Marcus roared, but his hands were trembling now. "Elder Thompson, this is clearly a desperate— If you're enjoying the story, let us know what time you're watching and where. Let's say hi to each other in the comments section. Doing that helps us know we're truly entertaining and impacting lives with our stories." Derek gave me copies of everything. I pulled the small flash drive from the pocket of my robe, the one I'd sewn into the lining of my hospital scrubs before they arrested me. Every transaction, every fake invoice, every bribe, it's all here. I tossed it to Elder Thompson. The old man caught it reflexively, staring at it like it might explode. "That's impossible," Vanessa said, but she was backing toward the door now. "You were arrested immediately after Derek died. You couldn't have— I prepared for this the moment Derek told me what he'd found. I knew what you'd do." I looked at Marcus. "I just didn't expect you to murder your own son over it." "I didn't kill my son!" Marcus's roar shook the hall, and several wolves shifted nervously. "Derek was— he was murdered by you," I said flatly. "You poisoned him with aconite from your private stores, the same stores only you and your beta have access to. Then you put his blood on my clothes while I was sedated in the cells. You used Vanessa to build your case, offering Kade a promotion if he helped you get close enough to learn my routines." Every eye turned to Kade. His face was gray. Vanessa said, "Tell them," I commanded, and this time the alpha power in my voice was unmistakable. Not Marcus's power. Something older. Something that made every wolf in the room instinctively want to obey. Kade's words tumbled out. "Vanessa came to me 6 months ago, said Alpha Marcus would make me beta when Elder Thompson retired if I helped them. I just had to get close to Elara, find out her schedule, her routines." The betrayal should have shattered me. Instead, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "You sold your mate for a promotion?" I said. "I didn't know they'd frame you for murder." His voice cracked. "I thought they just wanted you gone, exiled. Not killed. Oh, that makes it so much better." My wolf's sarcasm bled through. Marcus was breathing hard now, his control slipping. I could see the moment he made his decision, saw the alpha power gather around him like a storm. He shifted. His massive black wolf exploded from human skin, all rage and desperation. He lunged for my throat, jaws wide, going for the killing strike. He never made it. Chapter 2. The White Luna. The transformation felt different this time. Usually I shifted in private, in the darkness of the forest where no one could see. I'd learned to suppress the light, to make myself appear as an ordinary gray wolf whenever I had to shift for pack runs. Not today. White fur erupted from my skin like moonlight given form. The hall flooded with luminescence, so bright wolves in the front row shielded their eyes. I grew larger than any wolf present, even larger than Marcus in his alpha form, but it was the mark that made them gasp. Between my eyes, a silver crescent moon blazed like it had been branded by the moon goddess herself. "Impossible," Elder Thompson breathed. "A white luna. They're extinct. They've been extinct for 2 centuries. I felt my wolf's consciousness merge with mine, clearer than ever before. She was ancient, powerful, and absolutely done with being hidden. "They killed our parents for what we are," she snarled in my mind. "They killed Derek to frame us. And they will learn what happens when you cage the moon." The crowd had gone from silent to chaotic. Wolves were backing away, some shifting instinctively in submission, others in fear. "Seize her," Marcus roared, but his voice cracked. None of the guards moved. I said, "Seize." My wolf's howl cut him off. It wasn't a normal sound. It resonated with power that made the chandeliers shake and the windows rattle. Ancient magic, the kind that hadn't been felt in Blackwood Pack for generations. Then, one by one, they bowed. It started with the Omegas at the back. They dropped to their knees, heads lowered, necks exposed in the ultimate sign of submission. Then the warriors, the enforcers, the council members. Elder Thompson was shaking as he took a knee. "Forgive us, Luna. We didn't know." "Stay standing," Marcus commanded. But even his beta had bowed. Only 3 wolves remained standing, Marcus, Vanessa, and Kade. My wolf padded forward, each step deliberate. The crowd parted like water. When I reached Marcus, I shifted back to human form, uncaring that I was naked. A female Omega quickly brought a robe, her hands trembling as she draped it over my shoulders. "Derek wasn't murdered," I said, my voice carrying the wolf's resonance. "He was assassinated, and I know who ordered it." Vanessa took a step back. 3 weeks ago, Derek discovered something, didn't he, Marcus? He found the accounting records. He learned you've been embezzling from the PAC funds for years, over $2 million. Money meant for schools, hospitals, PAC security. Marcus's face went purple. "You have no proof. Derek came to me at the hospital the night before he died. He was terrified. He said his father would kill him if he reported it, but he couldn't live with the guilt. I pulled a flash drive from the pocket of the robe. I'd hidden it before my arrest, sewn into the lining. He gave me copies of everything, every transaction, every fake invoice, every bribe." I tossed it to Elder Thompson, who caught it with shaking hands. "Derek was going to expose you at the next full moon council," I continued. "So you poisoned him with aconite from your own private stores, the same stores only you and your beta have access to. You put his blood on my clothes while I was sedated after they arrested me, and you used Vanessa to build your case." "This is absurd!" Vanessa shrieked. "Kade, tell them she's lying." All eyes turned to my mate. Kade's face was ash gray. His mouth opened and closed several times before words came out. Vanessa came to me 6 months ago. She said if I helped her get close to you, found out your schedule, your routines, Alpha Marcus would make me beta when Elder Thompson retired. The betrayal should have hurt more. Instead, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "You sold your mate for a promotion," I said flatly. "I didn't know they'd frame you for murder. I thought—" He swallowed hard. "I thought they just wanted you gone. Exiled, not killed." "Oh, that makes it so much better." My wolf's sarcasm bled through. Marcus shifted then, a desperate, cornered animal. His black wolf lunged for my throat. He never made it. Use the story plot above to flesh out a story for me. Maintain excellence and avoid fluff. Write up to 1,500 words. Remember to make it flow with the next chapter plot below. Just straight excellence without fluff. Chapter 3. The Luna's Justice. My wolf met Marcus mid-leap. I didn't fully shift. I didn't need to. White light exploded from my hands as ancient Luna magic responded to the threat. Marcus's wolf froze in mid-air, suspended by pure silver energy. "The power of a white Luna isn't just in strength," Elder Thompson said, his voice filled with awe and fear. "It's divine authority, the moon goddess's will made manifest." I could feel it now, fully unleashed, centuries of genetic memory flooding through me. My ancestors had been the supreme rulers of all werewolf kind, judges appointed by the moon goddess herself to maintain balance and justice. They'd been hunted to extinction because alphas like Marcus feared losing power. "Put me down," Marcus snarled, struggling against the magical bonds. "You murdered your own son," I said quietly, and the hall went deathly silent again. "The accounting fraud Derek found, it included payments to the Crimson Fang Pack, our sworn enemies. You've been selling them information about our patrol routes, our defenses, our numbers." Gasps erupted throughout the crowd. "Lies!" Marcus roared. "I would never betray—" "The flash drive has emails, Marcus. Emails between you and Crimson Fang's Alpha, planning an invasion for next month. You were going to let them slaughter half the pack, then heroically defend what remained, with Crimson Fang warriors secretly helping you. You'd merge the packs, become a super alpha, and Derek's death would be blamed on the invasion." Elder Thompson had pulled out a laptop, his face growing more horrified by the second as he read. "Moon Goddess. It's all here. Financial records, communications, battle plans. Derek figured it out," I continued. "So you killed him. And you tried to kill me because you knew, somehow you always knew, that I was more than I appeared. You were afraid of what I might become." I released Marcus from the magical hold. He crashed to the ground in human form, naked and pathetic. "The penalty for alpha betrayal is death," Elder Thompson said, his voice shaking. "But as you've murdered an alpha and his heir and committed treason, Luna Elara, the judgment is yours by ancient law." Every wolf in the hall was watching me. The old Elara, the one who worked quietly, who kept her head down, who let her mate cheat because she was too afraid of being alone, she would have hesitated. But my wolf knew what justice looked like. "Marcus Blackwood, I strip you of your alpha title, your rank, and your wolf." The words came automatically, pulled from genetic memory. Silver light blazed around my hands. "For your crimes against pack and blood, against moon and kin, you will live as human, powerless for whatever days remain to you." "No, no, you can't." The magic struck him like lightning. Marcus's scream was inhuman as I literally tore his wolf from his soul. It was the most severe punishment possible for a werewolf, worse than death, to live without your other half, to be hollow and incomplete forever. When it was done, Marcus collapsed, sobbing. He looked 20 years older. "Vanessa Miller, you aided in murder and treason." Same sentence. "Kade, please." Vanessa grabbed for him, but he stepped back. His face a mask of horror. I showed her the same mercy she'd planned to show me. None. When both traitors lay broken on the floor, Elder Thompson stood. "The pack requires an alpha, by ancient law, by divine right, and by the will of those gathered here. We recognize Elara Kane as Luna Supreme of Blackwood Pack." "Luna Supreme," the pack echoed, 300 voices in perfect unison. I looked at Kade then. He was crying, and part of me, a small stupid part, still ached at the sight. "I reject you as my mate," I said clearly. "I sever our bond before the pack and the moon goddess." The bond snapped like a physical cord breaking. Kade doubled over in pain, clutching his chest. It hurt me too, but in the way removing a splinter hurts. Sharp, then relieved. "You're free to leave or stay," I told him, "but you'll never be Beta. You'll never be anything more than what you are right now, a wolf who betrayed his mate for ambition. Live with that." Elder Thompson approached, holding an ornate silver collar, the mark of a ruling Luna. "Your parents hid you to protect you. The last white Luna was killed by a coalition of alphas who feared her power. But times have changed. Will you lead us?" I looked around the hall, at the Omegas who'd been ignored and abused, at the warriors exhausted from defending a corrupt alpha's interests, at the families who'd lost members because Marcus sold intelligence to enemies. "I'll lead," I said. "But things are going to change. No more corruption, no more covering up crimes for those with rank, and any pack member who's been wronged, Omega, Beta, or Warrior, will have the right to seek justice directly from me." The cheers were deafening. As Elder Thompson fastened the collar around my neck, my wolf purred with satisfaction. "We're finally free," she whispered. "Not just free, powerful, feared, respected." 3 months later, I stood on the balcony of the Luna estate, watching the pack train in the courtyard below. Blackwood Pack was thriving under new leadership. The embezzled funds had been recovered. Security had been tripled. The Omegas had their own council now, and every neighboring pack had sent delegations, either swearing allegiance or asking for alliances. The White Luna had returned, and the werewolf world would never be the same. "Luna?" A young Omega named Sarah approached nervously. "There's a delegation here from Silver Moon Pack. They're asking for your help with—" "Let me guess," I said with a slight smile. "Corrupt Alpha?" Sarah nodded. My wolf stirred, eager. Justice, it seemed, was a full-time job. "Send them in," I said. "Let's hear what they have to say." As Sarah hurried off, I touched the silver crescent mark that now appeared on my human forehead, a permanent reminder of what I was. They'd tried to cage the moon. Instead, they'd set her free. The Luna's reckoning. The moment Marcus launched himself at me, time fractured into crystalline shards. I'd spent 3 years watching this man across dinner tables, nodding at his speeches, smiling at his jokes. 3 years married to his son while he embezzled millions and plotted treason. 3 years being invisible. I was done being invisible. My wolf surged forward. Not in a full shift, but something far more primal. White light erupted from my palms, not the golden glow of ordinary pack magic, but pure silver radiance that belonged to the moon goddess herself. The light caught Marcus mid-leap, his half-shifted form freezing as if trapped in ice. "Impossible," Elder Thompson breathed, his weathered face cycling through shock, awe, and something that looked like fear. "A White Luna. I thought they were extinct." "They were supposed to be," I said quietly, holding Marcus suspended 3 feet off the ground. My voice resonated with an authority I'd never used before, never dared to claim. Hunted down 2 centuries ago by alphas who couldn't stomach being judged by a higher power. Marcus snarled, thrashing against the magical bonds. His wolf was strong, alpha-born, battle-tested. It didn't matter. My power didn't come from physical strength or pack hierarchy. It came from something older, something written into the fabric of werewolf existence itself. "Put me down, you pathetic Omega," he spat. "You're nothing. You were always nothing." I studied him. This man who'd murdered his own son. Derek had been kind in ways his father never was. Gentle, honest. And Marcus had crushed his throat in this very hall 24 hours ago because Derek found something he shouldn't have. "The flash drive Derek sent me," I said, addressing the pack, though my eyes never left Marcus. It contains 12 months of financial records. Embezzlement, certainly. Marcus has stolen over $4 million from pack coffers. Gasps rippled through the crowd. But that's not the worst of it. I gestured, and the massive screen behind the dais flickered to life. My magic interfaced with technology in ways that should have been impossible, pulling files directly from Derek's encrypted backup. Emails appeared, dozens of them, correspondence between Marcus and someone identified only as CF Alpha. Crimson Fang, a warrior named Helena choked out. Those are Crimson Fang coordinates. Our patrol schedules, another warrior added, his face draining of color. Our defensive positions, our numbers. Marcus has been selling intelligence to our sworn enemies for 18 months, I said. Each word landed like a physical blow. But he's not just a traitor. He's been planning an invasion. Next month, Crimson Fang warriors were meant to attack during the full moon ceremony, when our defenses are traditionally lowered for the ritual. Elder Thompson had pulled out a laptop, his fingers shaking as he scrolled through the evidence. Moon goddess preserve us, half the pack would have been slaughtered. Then Marcus would have rallied the survivors, I continued, heroic Alpha defending his people, except Crimson Fang warriors would have secretly helped him drive off their own packmates. He'd merge what remained of both packs, become an Alpha of unprecedented size and power, and Derek's death would have been blamed on the chaos of the invasion. The silence in the hall was suffocating. Derek figured it out, I said softly. He confronted Marcus in the Alpha's office 2 nights ago. I heard them arguing. I was walking past on my way to bed. Derek said, "You're going to get people killed." Marcus said, "Some sacrifices are necessary for true power." I finally looked away from Marcus to meet the pack's collective gaze, 300 pairs of eyes, all fixed on me. I didn't understand then. I thought they were arguing about the embezzlement, but Derek sent me the full files with a message. "If anything happens to me, you'll know why." He trusted me with the truth because he knew I was strong enough to handle it. My voice cracked slightly. He saw me when no one else did. Vanessa stood frozen near the front, her face ashen. Kade had moved away from her, his expression caught between horror and disbelief. "You lying bitch," Marcus roared, finding his voice again. "You can't prove—" "I can prove all of it," Elder Thompson interrupted, his tone glacial. "Every transaction, every message, every coordinate, it's all here. Time-stamped and verified." He looked at Marcus with open disgust. "You murdered your son. You sold out your pack. You spat on every oath you ever swore." "The penalty for killing an Alpha is death," I said. "The penalty for treason is death. But you don't get death, Marcus." I released the magical hold. He crashed to the marble floor, his half-shifted form collapsing back into naked human vulnerability. He looked smaller somehow, diminished by the weight of his crimes. "Luna Elara," Elder Thompson said formally, "by ancient law, by the authority of the White Luna line, the judgment is yours." Power hummed through my veins, centuries of genetic memory rising to the surface. My grandmother had hidden what I was, dyed my hair dark, taught me to suppress my wolf, kept me away from pack politics. She'd watched the last White Luna die, torn apart by an alliance of Alphas who feared divine authority more than they loved justice. But grandmother was dead. Derek was dead. And I was done hiding. "Marcus Blackwood," I said, and my voice carried the weight of every White Luna who'd come before me. "For the murder of Alpha Derek Blackwood, for treason against your pack, for conspiracy to commit mass murder, I strip you of your Alpha title, your rank, and your wolf." "No," Marcus whispered. "No, you can't." Silver light blazed around my hands, brighter than before, hot enough that wolves nearby flinched away. I reached into Marcus with my power, found the place where his human soul and wolf spirit intertwined, and I pulled. His scream was inhuman, worse than any sound I'd ever heard. the silver light wrapped around something invisible, something essential, and tore it free. Marcus convulsed, his body arching off the floor as I literally ripped his wolf from his soul. When it was done, the light faded. Marcus lay gasping on the marble, aged 20 years in 20 seconds. His eyes were hollow, empty in a way that had nothing to do with physical sight. To live without your wolf was a fate worse than death. To feel that absence every moment, to know you were incomplete, to exist as a shadow of what you'd been. Wolves had gone mad from less. "Vanessa Miller," I said, turning to the woman who'd been sleeping with my husband. "You knew about the murder. You helped Marcus plan his cover story. Same sentence." "Kade, please!" Vanessa lunged for him, but he stepped back, his face twisted with revulsion. I showed her exactly as much mercy as she'd planned to show me when she convinced Kade to reject me. None. The second scream echoed off the vaulted ceiling. When Vanessa collapsed beside Marcus, two broken humans where there'd been powerful wolves, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "The pack requires an alpha," Elder Thompson said into the ringing silence. "By ancient law, by divine right, and by unanimous consent of the Council of Elders." He knelt, his old knees hitting marble with a sharp crack. "We recognize Elara Kane as Supreme Alpha of Blackwood Pack." One by one, every wolf in the hall knelt. "Luna Supreme," they intoned, 300 voices in perfect unity, all except Kade, who stood frozen, tears streaming down his face. I looked at him, this man I'd loved, who'd chosen ambition and lust over loyalty. Part of me still ached at the sight of his pain. That part was small and getting smaller. "I, Elara Kane, reject you, Kade Miller, as my mate," I said clearly. "I sever our bond before the pack and the moon goddess. You are free." If you like how this story is unfolding, type Part 2 in the comments section so that I'll create and post the continuation soon. The mate bond snapped like a cord pulled too tight. Kade doubled over with a gasp. I felt the break too. Sharp, painful, then suddenly, blessedly, absent. The constant background awareness of him, the pull toward him, the need for his approval, gone. "You can stay or leave," I told him, "but you'll never be Beta. Live with your choices." Elder Thompson approached, holding an ornate silver collar, Luna's mark, worn by pack rulers since time immemorial. "Will you lead us?" I looked around the hall, at Omegas who'd been dismissed and demeaned, at warriors exhausted from defending corruption, at families who'd nearly been sacrificed for one wolf's ambition. "I'll lead," I said. "But Blackwood Pack changes today. No more corruption, no more justice for the powerful and scraps for everyone else. Any wolf, Omega, Beta, warrior, wronged by someone of higher rank can seek judgment directly from me." As Elder Thompson fastened the collar around my neck, silver and cold and perfect, a crescent moon mark blazed to life on my forehead. Permanent, visible, undeniable. The pack's cheers shook the rafters. My wolf purred, finally. Finally, free. They'd tried to cage the moon. Instead, they'd set her free to burn. If you enjoyed this story, type Part 2 in the comments section so that I'll create and upload the continuation of this story in another video.